Here's a video for smoked meatloaf with a bacon lattice wrap. We used apple chunks for our wood. You're going to want to soak this for about 2 hours in some apple cider vinegar and water. And then I'm going to start making my bacon lattice. I usually start with my vertical rows first, and then I add one center piece of bacon and start there to do my weave. And it's really just alternating from layer to layer until you get the desired pattern. I was using 2 different type of bacon. I had one from a family member's pig that was just slaughtered, so I had that, and then plus I had the store-bought. The store-bought is a little bit more thinner and a little bit more fattier and had a little bit more play to stretch it out, whereas the more butchered one is more leaner and was pretty rigid in its sizes. So as you can see, I had to use 2 of them. Trying to make sure I don't have any holes in my weave. So I'm just kind of keeping those close. And then I saved some of the store-bought ones for the end just to make sure, because they stretched a little bit more. So I kept those to the end. This process takes about 15 minutes at the max. Once you've kind of figured out the pattern that you need to do, it moves pretty quickly. And this is the last slice that goes on, and the lattice bacon is complete. I'm just kind of showing what it looks like from above. Now I'm going to prepare the meatloaf. I have 3 pounds of meatloaf, ground beef. I usually add 1 egg to each pound of ground meat. Honestly, meatloaf is so forgiving. You can add any seasoning. This particular one, I had probably about 4 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 4 tablespoons of garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. You can put onions that were sauteed or chopped, green peppers, jalapenos I put in there. People like to stuff their meatloafs. I've seen people do it with sausage. I've seen eggs, whole cooked eggs. Seen people put in there, cheese in there. You can do just about anything with a meatloaf. You can use different types of meat. Veal, pork, Italian sausage. I've done it many different ways, so I really don't have a go-to recipe. I just kind of mix it up any other time that I have. It's just, you can use breadcrumbs, but I'm doing keto, so I kind of eliminate the breadcrumbs, but some people use that for another moisturizing and binding agent. Here I am trying to form it. I like to kind of keep mine almost like a football type loaf. I've seen people put it in loaf pans. I've never done the loaf pan, but every person does it differently. Here I am laying it right over that bacon lattice, pressing it out to form it so it will have a nice cover when I flip it over, which you will see the challenge. Okay. And I will be flipping it over shortly onto another cookie sheet that's lined with foil. This was not an easy task. This is probably a 2-person task to do, just for a reference. Now, mind you, I'd probably use wax paper or parchment paper to remove, but unfortunately, at my store there was no parchment paper or wax paper for some odd reason. All I had was tinfoil, so here we are. So here I'm taking the lattice and tucking it underneath and kind of just, fully covering that meatloaf with bacon to kind of give a nice presentation, but also to seal in those flavors of when it's cooking. Okay, and here's the finished product. Voila, bacon wrap meatloaf, getting ready to go in the smoker. We keep our smoker up to 225 to 250. You're going to cook it until it reaches 160. For this particular meatloaf, it took us about 3.5 hours. So you're just going to have to just check the temperature. We're adding a little vinegar and water to kind of keep it humidified. And closing it up and letting it do its magic. It smells wonderful when it's smoking. He's adding some more wood that he's got soaking just to kind of give it more flavor. Next, I'll be preparing the glaze for the meatloaf. I used about 4 tablespoons of sugar-free ketchup, 2 tablespoons of mustard, yellow mustard, some hot sauce, about a tablespoon, and a half cup of Swerve brown sugar alternative. Again, trying to keep those carbs down. And just, I heated it up a little bit in the microwave for like 30 seconds and then just kind of stirred it with a fork. Here we're checking the temperature and just checking how it's going. As you can see, there's a lot of grease from bacon and ground beef, so it greased a lot of high flames. I mean, we could use a drip pan next time. Coming back to check the temperature. I think in this video shows it's just about there at 150. So I'm getting ready to prepare my glaze to apply on it in that last 20 minutes of cooking process. Putting that glaze on and letting that bake in there and continue smoking until the finished product comes out to 160. And the finished product will be coming out. We'll be cutting it open and you will see fully cooked meatloaf with the glaze hardened on. I hope you enjoyed this video and you make some smoked bacon wrapped meatloaf. Thank you.